The warm hum of conversation filled Le Jardin, an upscale Chicago restaurant that smelled faintly of truffle butter and roses. At the back corner table, Amelia Reed smoothed her dress for the 100th time, her nerves twisting tighter with each passing minute. She wasn't sure why she had agreed to this. Maybe it was loneliness. Maybe it was that ache in her chest every time she saw her co-workers go on dates while she stayed late at the office, pretending to enjoy spreadsheets and deadlines. "Come on, Amelia," her friend Jenna had urged the day before. "You've been single forever. You deserve a little fun. This guy's perfect for you. His name's Chris." Her other colleague, Marcy, had smirked. "He's tall, handsome, and totally your type. Trust us." Now, sitting at the candle-lit table with a single glass of water, Amelia realized something was wrong. The waiter kept glancing at her with pity. A group of people at the bar, Jenna, Marcy, and a few others from work, were whispering, barely suppressing laughter. Her heart sank. It hit her then. They hadn't set her up on a date. They had set her up as a joke. She clenched her napkin, shame rising in her throat. She'd believed them. She'd put on her nicest navy dress, curled her hair, even worn the red lipstick she'd saved for special occasions. The waiter approached, hesitant. "Miss, would you like to order while you wait?" She shook her head, forcing a smile. "No, I'll just wait a little longer." But as she said it, she heard the muffled snickers. Marcy lifted her phone, clearly recording. "Still waiting for Prince Charming?" she whispered just loud enough for others to hear. Amelia's cheeks burned. She wanted to disappear into the floor. She began to gather her purse, eyes stinging. "Sorry I'm late," a deep voice interrupted from behind her. Amelia turned, startled. The man standing there wasn't anyone she recognized. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a tailored charcoal grey suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. His hair was dark and slightly tousled, his jawline sharp, and his eyes, steady, grey and kind, met hers with quiet confidence. "I'm Daniel," he said smoothly, taking the empty seat across from her. "You must be Amelia." "Ah, yes, but—" she stammered, confused. He smiled faintly. "I know, I'm late. Traffic was murder." Jenna and Marcy stopped laughing. The man's presence shifted the entire room. The waitstaff straightened up. Even the bar fell quiet. Because this wasn't just any man. This was Daniel Cole, the 34-year-old billionaire CEO of Cole Industries, Chicago's fastest-growing tech firm. He was known for being private, disciplined, and a devoted single father to a 7-year-old girl. "Mr. Cole," the waiter stammered, "would you like your usual table?" Daniel's gaze flicked briefly toward the bar where Amelia's co-workers sat. His jaw tightened. In that split second, he understood everything. "Once in a while, I like reminding the world that kindness still shocks people." As they walked out of the restaurant together, past her stunned co-workers and the whispering crowd, Amelia realized something she hadn't felt in years. For the first time, someone hadn't just seen her. Someone had stood up for her. And that night, under the glittering Chicago skyline, a cruel joke turned into the beginning of something neither of them expected. The next morning, Amelia woke up to hundreds of notifications. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Instagram tags, text messages, even voicemails from people she barely knew. Look, the restaurant proposal was trending. A video from the night before, Daniel Cole kneeling before her, the crowd clapping, her stunned expression, had exploded online. The comments were wild. "He's the real gentleman. True chivalry isn't dead. Wait, who's the mystery woman?" Amelia buried her face in her pillow, half mortified, half dazed. She hadn't just gone viral. She'd become the woman from the proposal video. At work, people whispered as she walked past. Jenna and Marcy avoided her eyes. Their cruel prank had backfired spectacularly. Instead of being laughed at, Amelia was suddenly the internet's sweetheart. By noon, she got an email from Cole Industries. "Miss Reed, Mr. Cole requests a brief meeting at your earliest convenience. Assistant to Daniel Cole." Her hands trembled as she read it. A meeting? Why? 2 hours later, she stood in the sleek glass tower of Cole Industries, heart pounding. The receptionist guided her to the 45th floor. When the elevator doors opened, Daniel was waiting. No cameras, no crowd, just him. He smiled softly. You made it. I wasn't sure if I should, she admitted. Half the internet thinks we're engaged. He chuckled. Yeah, about that. I owe you an apology. Amelia tilted her head. For saving me from humiliation. For pulling you into my mess, he said. I didn't expect that video to go viral. Now my PR team wants me to clarify the situation. And I didn't want to do it without talking to you first. She crossed her arms, trying to hide her nerves. So what do we do? He hesitated, then smiled. We tell them the truth. That I proposed to protect you, and that you turned me down politely. She laughed softly. You make it sound so graceful. I try, he said, eyes twinkling. As they spoke, something shifted between them. The initial awkwardness melted into easy warmth. He wasn't the powerful CEO everyone saw online. He was simply Daniel. Funny, thoughtful, and disarmingly human. Then a small voice interrupted. Daddy, who's the pretty lady? A little girl peeked from behind the door. Dark curls, big brown eyes, holding a stuffed rabbit. Daniel turned, smiling. Amelia, this is my daughter, Lily. Lily ran up to Amelia fearlessly. Are you gonna marry my daddy? Amelia blinked, speechless. Daniel groaned, rubbing his forehead. Lily. But Amelia laughed. He said calmly. As the waiter left, Daniel leaned forward and said quietly, You don't have to explain. I know what's going on. Her pulse jumped. You do? Yeah, he said. I saw a video online a few minutes ago. Someone posted that their coworker was waiting for a fake date. The post tagged me by accident. When I looked closer, I saw you. Amelia's stomach turned cold. Oh my God. He gave a small smile. So I figured I'd step in. If they wanted a show, I'll give them one. Her lips parted. You don't have to... Trust me, he interrupted gently. I want to. He signaled to the waiter. We'll have the chef's special and a bottle of red, please. From across the room, Jenna and Marcy stared, mouths open. Their laughter vanished. Amelia whispered, You really don't need to do this. You don't even know me. Daniel's eyes softened. Maybe not yet, but I know you don't deserve to be laughed at. Something in his voice, steady, genuine, made her believe him. As the food arrived, the tension melted. Conversation began to flow. She learned that Daniel had grown up in a small town in Ohio, worked his way through college, and built his company from nothing. She told him about her love for baking, how she used to dream of owning a little bakery called Flour and Soul. He smiled. That's a great name. Why didn't you go for it? She sighed. Fear, I guess. It's easier to stay safe in an office than risk failing at something you love. He nodded slowly. That's something I understand. Success doesn't mean much if you're scared all the time. When dessert came, she was laughing for the first time that night. For a moment she forgot about the phone cameras and the humiliation. Then she heard Marcy's voice again. Wow, she's really milking it, huh? Daniel turned his head sharply. His tone when he spoke was quiet, but every word carried. Ladies, he said, I think you've embarrassed her enough for one lifetime. The air in the room froze. And then, without warning, Daniel stood. He walked to Amelia's side, took her hand and said, Let's give them something to really talk about. Her eyes widened. What are you doing? He looked at her with a playful glint. Trust me. Then he dropped to one knee. Gasps rippled through the restaurant. The entire place fell silent. Amelia's heart stopped. Daniel, what? He looked up at her, still holding her hand, his voice soft but clear. Amelia Reed, I know we just met, but I've seen enough to know this. You deserve to be treated like the woman you are, with respect, with kindness, and maybe with a little bit of love someday. The room broke into applause. Phones flashed. Her co-workers' faces turned ghostly pale. Amelia's breath caught in her throat. She knew it wasn't a real proposal, but her heart didn't seem to care. When he stood again, he whispered, Now they'll think twice before mocking you. She looked at him, tears glistening. Why did you really do it? He smiled faintly. Because, real bubbling laugh she hadn't heard from herself in years. Not today, sweetheart. Lily looked disappointed for a second, then brightened. Can we bake cookies instead? Daniel froze, then looked at Amelia. Did she just... She grinned. I might have mentioned I bake. And that's how Amelia found herself in the Cole family's cozy kitchen that evening, rolling dough, while Lily sang Christmas songs, despite it being April. Daniel leaned against the counter, watching them with quiet amusement. "You know, you're the first person she's let in this easily." Amelia smiled softly. "She's amazing." He nodded. "Her mom passed away when she was 3. I've tried to keep her world safe, maybe too safe." The vulnerability in his voice made Amelia's heart ache. "You're doing great," she said gently. "She's kind and confident. That doesn't happen by accident." He looked at her, eyes warm. "Thank you." The evening passed in laughter and sugar-dusted smiles. For the first time since her heartbreak years ago, Amelia felt something she hadn't dared hope for: belonging. When she got home, her phone rang. It was Daniel. "Hey," he said, voice low. "I just wanted to thank you again, for tonight, for being you." She smiled. "You don't have to thank me, I had fun." He hesitated. "Then let's do it again, not as a PR stunt, a real date." Her heart skipped. "You're serious?" "As serious as I was when I got down on one knee." Over the next few weeks, they met often. Late dinners, walks by Lake Michigan, and Sunday breakfasts with Lily. The media buzz slowly faded, replaced by quiet affection. Amelia learned that Daniel wasn't the cold executive people imagined. He read bedtime stories with silly voices, burned pancakes at least once a week, and kept his late wife's favorite painting in his office. He learned that Amelia's kindness wasn't weakness, it was strength. She volunteered at a community bakery every weekend, helped her elderly neighbors, and carried hope even after being hurt. But just as things began to feel right, trouble returned. A gossip site posted new photos of them together. "Mystery fiancé moves in on tech billionaire, gold digger or true love?" At work, whispers started again. Jenna muttered, "Guess she really did find her rich guy." Amelia ignored it, but Daniel noticed. That evening, he showed up outside her office. "You shouldn't have to go through this," he said, "if it's too much." She cut him off. "Daniel, don't you dare apologize for caring about me." He smiled faintly, pride and affection in his eyes. A month later, Daniel invited her and Lily to a charity gala. It was held at the same restaurant where they'd first met, Le Jardin. As Amelia entered, memories came rushing back, the laughter, the humiliation, and the moment that changed everything. Now the same people who once mocked her whispered admiration. When Daniel stepped onto the stage to speak, she thought it was just another formal speech. But then he looked directly at her. He paused, then said, "A few months ago, I met a woman under unusual circumstances. She reminded me that kindness is stronger than pride, and that love isn't about grand gestures. It's about seeing someone for who they are." The crowd fell silent. Then he walked down from the stage, stopped in front of Amelia and smiled. "This time," he said softly, "I'm not pretending." He knelt down again. Not for the cameras, not for a show, but for her. "Amelia Reed," he said, voice trembling just a little. "You changed my life when you believed in me, without asking for anything in return. I don't know what I did to deserve you, but if you'll let me, I'd like to spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of you. Will you marry me?" Tears blurred her vision. She didn't look around this time. She didn't care about the crowd or the phones. She only saw Daniel, the man who had turned her worst humiliation into her greatest blessing. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes. Lily squealed, running to hug them both. The audience erupted in applause. And just like that, the joke that was meant to break her became the love story everyone dreamed of.